Good morning and sliding into afternoon. Judy Allen here in San Antonio, Texas, known as Nana, because I got a few of those special peeps. Well, you may hear more stuff going on in the background because I noticed that they are trimming the bushes outside. So we have a little extra sound with us today, and it's been a busy day. I don't know about you guys, but my week has been busy. We've had immediate family members in our household at doctor's offices and had to take somebody for biopsies today. So, but you know what? We're staying positive. We know everything's going to be good. So, everything's been going great so far. So, we're just believing the best in everything, right? Prayers are always appreciated. So, there you go. All right. So, today we're going to make a home decor piece. And I'm casing this, right? It's going to be changed a little bit, but I'm casing it. And as you see when I show it to you, I don't know who I don't know who did the original because I thought their name was on it, but it's not. So I can't give credit because I don't know who credit goes to. But we're going to case it, and I'm going to show you how we do it, all right? So let's go down the hands like this. Let's make this home decor piece. Okay, so these are the things we've already made. This is a shaker card we made last week. I like it. I like shaker cards, right? It's just fun. Anyway, and these are ones we've already made. Okay, so actually I'm taking what I have left in my box. So we're rearranging things. So let me show you where I'm casing from. And I've already marked the measurements. So if you can see the measurements, I've already marked the measurements down of what we'll be doing, just to give you an idea what the measurements are going to be. Okay, so we're going to work on casing this. If I have these leaves, I don't know it. I'll have to look for some leaves. Okay, so we're not going to be finished with it all completely today. The other thing is that they've got a friend and this saying here that's in the kit, their pumpkin kit. I'm going to get some scripture. I've got myself and so many friends that's got so much going on in their lives that I'm going to put some faith in here. I'm going to put some scriptures in here for people. All right? So you won't get to see it completely finished today, but at least you can see how we're going. All right? So I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to come back to this white piece of paper. So I already know that around each of these squares that the green is 2.5 and the white, I'm going to use white, is 2.25. And for my very background, I'm going to use very vanilla. You can see that in a minute. So 3 of these are just going to make a panel using a 2.5 by 2.25. I'm using Old Olive and basic white. I'm not sure for sure. They didn't have instructions or anything, whatever. I just saw it and showed it to a friend. She likes to do home decor pieces. I was going to do this as a class, but this kit sold out and had you couldn't order any refills. So that's how popular the kit was, right? I made one of these last year with another popular kit, and again, it sold out too. So it's one of those things you really sort of have to get it ahead of time, and since we're doing paper pumpkin, right, ends on the 10th of the month. So what I've done is I even measured. So when I case something or whatever, I don't have the information, I start working on best educated guesses. It's like putting a puzzle together or being like a detective and figure out the missing pieces. So I measured this so I had an idea of where I was going with it, right? So this is a 3x4. So when I measure this from across at the widest parts, from top to bottom, I got a 3x4. So it gave me an idea what I was working with, right? So it's sort of like dissecting things. So I'm going to take the biggest piece. We're just going to put some of these together. But first, before we do all that, we're going to take these white pieces. Doesn't look like they did it on all of them, but I am. And what we're going to do is we're going to give a little extra color here, okay? So sometimes in the retreats and in classes, when something looks like it's got too much white space, what I do is I just take a blender pen, and this is what we're going to do. We're just going to flick some color on here, all right? So if you're not sure what you want to do, I start with the light color first, all right? Especially if I don't know which I'm going to want. And I take the bigger end here, okay? And the reason why I take the bigger end, because it's going to let me splatter more, all right? So all I do is I'm taking my pen, and I'm just raking it from the inside out here. And you can see where the specks are coming on here. Hopefully you can. You should be able to see that. So I like that color, and let's see what it looks like. Right, because lots of times I don't know what I want, right? Until I go to do it. And then I know what I want. So this is just a little bit darker. So you can see how much darker that is than the other one. I wouldn't mind a little bit of that. I just don't want a lot of that, okay? So let's at first at least get the light one on here. I'm just going to do this to all these pieces, especially the white ones, because my daughter always says, it's got too much white space. Okay, You know, some things it needs white space, right? But this one's okay. So I'm gonna put this aside. It dries. Everybody wonders if, you know, what about it drying? These are designed, right? So that when you sit there and it hits the paper, it's gonna be dry. The only thing that's not gonna be dry is if you use Versamark. And Versamark is where we sit there and do our heat embossing, and it does not dry right away. I assure you that, because I've messed up my heat embossing by accidentally breaking my fingernail across it, or my hand, or whatever, and messed it up. So, there you go. Alright, I'm going to do the same thing here. Okay, so everything just has a little speckle there. Nobody too much, too little. And if you want to add some later, you can. Alright, so you can see the different pieces. I'm just going to add just a little color. I'm not trying to take away from everything. I just don't want to focus on so much white space, okay? And so you can see this there too, alright? So we're going to go ahead and start assembling some of this. Alright, at first, I'm going to go ahead and get these down because these are always the easiest parts to get down. And I'm going to use my tape runner. Oops. And get this down. So I'm going to at least get my mats done, right? So when we get through all our layers, we'll have a mat. And let's see, I just used my Stampin' Blend that would match my paper. So it's Old Olive, and I used Old Olive on the Stampin' Blends. So here's mat number 1. Now they use the person I case from used this here. Well, this is the only one I have left. All right. So we're not going to use that one. Instead, where'd it go? Oh, right here. So I couldn't tell at first what the person did, but after I looked at this really, really close, let me show you. I couldn't figure out what was going on. Well, what it is, they actually cut the paper. See how they cut it right there? So this is really a 3. This right here is really a 3. At first I thought it was a 4x4, but it wasn't. It's a 3 1/4 and 3 1/4. And I'll tell you what, you can go and cut every 1 3/4, right? Or 1 1/4. Yeah, I cut 1 3/4 and 1 3/4 is what I did to get this right here. So I divided it in thirds, so that allows me to sit there and split it up and put it on here. Hello, Bertner. So I'm just going to put this down right here. Now I have choices now, right? I can either put this down flat, or I could put it up on dimensionals. I'm going to go ahead and do it flat. And you know what? If you're not sure, you want to anchor it where you get, just put a little in the middle so you can get things squared up, right? And that way if you want to move them, it's easy to move. And then you can come back once you're satisfied with where you got things, that you can sit there and do that, okay? So I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to put a little adhesive in the middle right there, and I'm going to sort of eyeball it about the same. Yeah, so I want scriptures on this one. There's a lot of people that I know right now, including myself, that could definitely stand some scriptural inspiration I can look at every day to inspire me, right? So I've been sending that stuff out. All right, so this is number 1. And then we're going to put this just right on top of this. So basically what we've done, it looks like it's been done. This particular one was actually put on, it looks like just like this here. Okay? I'm still going to put it up on dimensionals. And you know what? The thing is, if you're not sure, just don't take the adhesive off back, right? So what I'll do then, I do this all the time. If I'm not sure about something, because if I decide I don't want to do this with dimensionals, then I just take the dimensionals off. And even if it tears the paper a little bit, you won't know because it'll be hidden on the back side, right? So this is basically how this would look for number 1. So it's just going to come over right about like this, and it would be just like this right here. Okay, so let me show you what they got. See here, and then this is what we're doing here. Okay, now the only other thing that's there that's not here yet is this right here, this piece. This is what we actually did when we created the cards, right? We actually did the same thing. We came across just a little bit like that, just to give it some extra color, right? Now that I am going to put down, and I'm satisfied with this right now, so once I'm satisfied, I just take this up gently. See, it doesn't tear the paper. And then I'm just going to put adhesive on the whole thing and put it down. So keep in mind, when you make a home decor piece like this, it's going to be in a frame, right? And it's up to you whether you want glass on the frame or not. But if you have this, you'd like to get together and make this, let me know, and we'll just set a time up so we can do this. Because I do have one kit left. Because I thought we'd be able to do a class, and so I saved it, and then when I realized they were sold out of even refills, so refills never even made it to the Stampin' Up! Site because they were already sold out before anything else, right? So, didn't realize that was going to happen, but not surprising when stuff is super beautiful. It has a tendency to sell out, right? So yeah. We're going to get this one on here too. But see how that green in the background? Yeah, so if it doesn't want to roll, I just rake it across my hand, the top of my hand here, and it rolls. So you can see that the flickering of this in the background shows a little. If you want more, then just flick some more. I would even flick it across here, and that would be okay. It wouldn't be the first time I've done that. Sometimes I forget I'm just going to flick it until I get to the very end, and it's like, seriously? So yeah, I don't know if you do that too, but I do. So, and it's Friday, right? Got the weekend ahead of us. For us, Miss Zoe is coming tonight. So I'm hoping we're going to make the Halloween house. This was my goal. Hopefully, that's the goal. All right, so we're just going to make it, just go over just a little bit, right? That's it. Nothing has to be perfect, right? The thing is, it's just all about just picking up the colors, going over just a little bit. So there is our first map, okay? All right, just to let you know too, I want to let you know, so that what I like about this is you're using your 8.5 paper. So just like you know, our base is going to be 8.5 by 8.5, all right? So basically, this one's going to go right about like this here. So you can see how this is going to shape up. All right, so we still got, as you can see, 4 more squares to go. So let's get busy on our other 4 squares. I'm going to set that aside a second as we make the next one. I'm going to do the tall one next. And this is going to have the daisies on it. So again, we're going to put this down. It's amazing that you can rake this across the top of your hand and it works just fine. I wish I'd known this about 3 years ago, right? But I discovered it, and this is what I'm sticking by it now. So yeah, we can put this down. And then here comes our daisies, all right? So this particular case, it looks like they cut out the daisies, which is fine. So basically cut out the window here, look. And we can come around here. So this here, we're just going to pretend like we can see the exact shape of this flower here. If you've ever seen flowers outside, you know, they're all different shapes. By the time the little bees and everything get through, right? Everybody gets their little nectar out there, keep them going. Since they're in the flowers are just not as, every little leaf isn't the same shape and everything else anymore, right? So don't worry about it. All you gotta do is take a page from nature's book, and you'll see that it'll be okay. Do what you want to do. All right, same thing. We're just gonna come around. We're just trimming this off. That's all we're gonna do, and then we're gonna sit around and prep this. So yes, I have been up since 6:15 this morning and going. Sliding into the chair here as I was gathering stuff together. So right, so if you think I had this all planned out, and today is not a planned out day. Today is a day that was like, let's do what we need to do, help who we need to help, and we'll go from there. Because in fact, I wasn't even sure if we were going to do live today, but we got to go in at 7:15 this morning, which is much earlier than we thought we were going to get to go, and that helped tremendously. So there you go. Yeah, so soon, very soon, we will be having the Halloween mystery box. So if you're interested, keep an eye out for it in our newsletter. Last year we sold out of our mystery boxes. So if you want one, you need to be sure just to sign up. So if you don't sign up to our newsletter, you want to be sure to do that, because that goes out first to them. The folks that get my newsletter, that's Adventurous Stamping. Nana does it through Adventurous Stamping. And that's where we put the information. Then from there, we'll go and post it elsewhere. So I try to make sure my team knows first and keep my subscribers to my newsletter. Right? It's a perk. It's a perk. Okay, so it's really more time is spent, right? Just separating this here. And it's just a question, if you want to sit there and separate the flowers from the leaves up the top or not. We could, but I'm not at the moment, all right? So we're just going to put this right here. Now, one thing I do like to do, though, is I like to take my bone folder and at least let's give some dimension to these leaves, okay? Because it takes nothing to do this with a bone folder. And if you put this in a home decor piece and you don't put glass on it, right? Because depending on how much, usually if you're going to mash the glass down on it, well, then it's not going to show. If you don't do that, you're going to be able to have all this dimension and have whatever you want. Okay, and see how this goes here? So it can go any way you want, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and put this down with dimensionals right here. But the rest of it, I'm going to let it be up here so it can be more like a 3D, right? So let's put the dimensionals on here, especially on the lower leaves. Now, this also gives you the flexibility that if you want to come back and do any more flexing here, you can. Let me cut these in half. Or let me just tear one the strip off here. That would be easier. Because I don't want to put it all down, right? If I put it all down, then I'm not going to be able to do the dimension. But as long as, I just need something to anchor it right, so you put it up on the wall as a home decor piece, it doesn't fall out on the floor, right? It's the main thing you want to do. Alright, so it just gives you an idea how that's going to look, see? So I haven't anchored anything down, so it can't be a 3D. Only thing is, I might, right there, so right that spot right there, and that's the beauty of this, is that you can do that. Okay, did I get that in the right spot? So I'm going to put a spot. So you see right here, I've got to have one here, one there, and that's it. Okay, so I've anchored it here, here, and here is what I'm going to do. The rest, if you want this anchored, you can. If I was going to anchor this one, I'm going to go ahead and show you and we'll do it. We're going to do this as a double stack. Okay, if I do this as a double stack, it's going to allow me to still have the height that I'm looking at right now. I wouldn't do more than a double stack. I've never tried to do more than a double stack to see what it's like. But I know the double stack works just fine. So the double stack is going to allow it to still look like it is free flowing there when in reality it's not. We got it stuck in place. Alright? And that's the key to it. I wanted to be able to make it look like 3D, right? That I could sit there and curl the leaves as much or as little as I wanted and the flower petals. And we're going to put Wing of Still on everything, so don't think we aren't going to do that, because we are. Okay? So, we're just going to get this last one peeled off. And we're just going to put this right here. Now, this will have a scripture across it. Now, I've actually sort of just put this up a little bit. Okay, now see here, you don't realize that I've got that on dimensionals. It looks like it's just free-flowing, just like everything else, right? Okay, so this is another panel. This will have a scripture on it, all right? I don't have a scripture right now, but we've got that panel. All right, let's get the last three panels. I'll go ahead and get these down. And so, like I said, one of these has leaves, which I'll have to see. I do have leaves around here. Leaves like they have in theirs is not in the kit. They've gotten it from somewhere else. So I'll have to go to my stash of leaves to see what I can come up with. Okay, this does not look like it's cut. One of these isn't cut right. Let's see which one it is. Well, let me see if I got the... When all else fails, yeah. Okay, so this one is not cut correctly. Okay, this one's too short. All right. I was going to say, it did not look right, right? Because everything's supposed to be a square except for the one rectangle I just did. All right, so put one here. And we'll put one here. Alright, so we won't worry about those leaves yet because I'll have to get another piece of green to substitute it. But we'll get things made as far as we can get it made. Alright, so it's we're just creating panels that we're going to assemble. Right, that we're going to assemble. Alright, so on this one, we're actually going to use this right here. Trying to see if we're going to use it like that or not. So again, we're going to have to trim this, right? Just all we're going to do is separate this from Pretty little arch here. Right, it's just real pretty. There are days that you look at it and you're like, are you seriously going to cut that? It's like, well, you know, if it wasn't for my special friend Linda, who likes home decor, and wanted me to do a class, I most probably wouldn't even thought about making a home decor piece, right? But if you go back and look at some older videos, you'll see I made her a home decor piece last year. Some beautiful sunflowers. And I have to tell you, it's hard to decide what kind of frame to get, right? Because one made it look really warm looking, and they each had their own different look, right? It's sort of interesting. We think everything's the same. It's just really not. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna have to cut this up just a little bit so everything won't fit here, right? So what we're going to do though is we already know that we can get at least the leaves, and they're going to hang over a little bit, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. Just it helps give dimension, right? But you can see all the leaves aren't going to go over. So we're going to at least trim it a little bit, okay? And we're going to use the leaves. We're not going to waste the leaves. Let's see if I can trim this the best way I want. I'll just use this one. Let me use this one here. Make sure they're the same size. I didn't mess up on that one. Okay, so we're going to basically, I'm going to let it hang over, right? I don't have a problem with that, but I do want to cut these leaves, and we're just going to do this here. All right. So when we do that, then this leaves us these extra leaves, and you can see these are like not connected anymore because of that, but it's okay. All right. So when we have the extra leaves like this, let's use them, right? Because this is going to be down on here as well too, and we'll have it connecting just like this here, like it was. And then we have these extra leaves we can come and tuck behind here, okay? And you can see if I lay these leaves down right now, this bigger flower is going to be right over it. Okay, so we're not going to waste our leaves. All right, so what I'm going to do is we're just going to put a little adhesive on each of these, because these aren't the ones I could curl them a little bit if I wanted to, right? But I doubt it. It's highly improbable. It really is. I could, but I don't see it at the moment. Let's try to fuss with these here first. So see, we're just going to take this here, and I'm going to do the same thing, except I'm going to put this one up on dimensionals, okay? Because that's what gives it all the flower homey look, right? Is because the fact is it's up on dimensionals, and you see that depth. And that's what we want. And as I'm looking, I still see I didn't put my other piece on the other one yet. And I'm just going to put this one right here in the center. I wasn't sure if I had enough or not. And then we have the other flower too. So let's go ahead and get this one down. And you can see, and I can see if I have to do this one and the other one, you'll see how it's going to take shape. In fact, I just put that down. I really shouldn't have done that there, but it's okay. All right, so I'm just going to put this right here. It's all right that I've got it over it, right? And it's okay that we get the flowers going over it. Just add depth. And then we can leave this either here, or we can sit there and put it on dimensional. Since we put everything else on dimensional, I'm going to do that too. But I'm just going to tuck it down just a little bit so the greenery is right here. Okay? All right, so basically when I put this down, this is what it's going to look like, right? And we'll most probably just cover this, and I'll just have to do another white piece for the other piece. It's okay. So, but since I've already got this all done up like this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use glue, okay? And I'm just going to put it right here. And I'm just going to put it with this one here. I can do another one. I mean, nobody knows it, right? Except unless you watch the video. If you don't watch the video, you don't know what I just did. Even then, you better pay attention, right? Okay, so here is another panel. And this is our last panel we're going to use right here. Okay, and on this one, you can see, I'll show you the picture here, that they cut their flowers, right? So it looks like they've cut their flowers and rearranged their flowers. All right, so let's do that. And you see that the leaf's right here, whereas this big leaf right here is not like that. So we say they took this leaf here, or this leaf here, and made it the main focus and rearranged it, okay? So let's do that. That is my best educated guess there. All right, so we're just going to come around here. And it's up to you if you want to cut the white off on the other side or not, because really and truly it would be hidden. But they just looks like they sat there and made sure to make use of capturing all of this one flower. So it's not really anything to be bent out of shape if you don't get all the white off, because it's really going to blend in with the white. But you may want to get it just a little bit more. Okay. Like I said, it's hard to see what they did, but I don't see the white. So we're just going to go ahead and get it cut off. And we'll separate it here, right? And then we're also going to separate it right here. Now this is where lots of times, if I wanted to, really, right, there's no reason I can't come in here and separate those leaves if I want to, right? So I can sit there and use, and I'm just going to do this because I can, right? Lots of times we do that, right? I'm not getting a grade. I don't think you're grading me. If you are, I would tell you, my mother-in-law says you can only grade somebody and critique somebody if you've done it yourself. So I would encourage you then to go do it yourself, so that way I get to critique yours and you can critique mine, right? But I think the main thing for me is I'm not getting graded. Like in school for art, I got graded, right? Well, I don't have to worry about that nowadays. I've outgrown all that. Okay, so this is actually what they've used as the focal point right here, and just sat there and gave it some depth, right? So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to put this right here. And I'm just going to put it right across here. It's a little different than theirs. That's okay. You know, I don't have to do it just like theirs. And I'm going to leave that right there. So we still have some more, though. We have these two flowers to add to it as well. So this is nice because it's easy to tuck some of this underneath with a little bit of green stem here. And again, it's just up to you if you want to sit there, cut the stem off, leave it there. It looks like theirs is not there. But definitely this is tucked under. So look how that's going to look. And so you can tuck it really and truly. If you tuck it way under here, you're really not going to see the stem, right? It looks like they might have done. We're going to put some adhesive here though, because we want it to stay, right? We don't want it to be on someone's desk or wall and then it falls down. So I can actually, let's go ours a little bit differently. Let's make ours a little bit higher to the side or whatever, so we can maybe see a little bit of that greenery. Okay, and then we got our last flower. And that's all the panels I have. Since I messed up on that other one, I don't have an extra panel ready to go, because it wasn't supposed to mess up, right? So it's just an opportunity for you to come back later and see the finished, once I get my scriptures on here and all. Okay, and then this one's here is just like tucked over here and flat. See if there's room for this leaf or not. You know, it's a call. It's really a tough call if you want the leaves or not. So I don't like it like that, but let's do this here. I'm going to cut this off here, because then I have options, right? So for me, it's all about, do I have options? I like having options. All right, so I'm just going to put this here and tuck it under. Right here. And yeah, I'm just going to let it come over, sort of like it looks like what they did. And then I'm just going to trim this here, or I could also put this leaf here. Let's see how the leaf looks. See how I could easily add the leaf here? So let's do that. Otherwise, it's going to be like a lonely leaf by itself, doing absolutely nothing. Alright, so I'm just going to pinch this off. And what I'm going to do is go ahead, I'm just going to take, let me find another corner piece here. I don't really want much of a piece here, right? What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to sit up there. Where's that leaf? I'm just going to do the bottom of the leaf here, okay? So if I do just the bottom of the leaf, it's nice that that is white. And I can trim this off a little bit. Okay, so now I can put this leaf in here and I can turn around and use my bone folder to curl it. So see if I just put it right there. It looks like it belongs, right? And you can sit there and redo the leaf if you wanted to. If you want to move it up a little bit further, we could. Move it up a little bit further. Gently, right? Gently put tug on it. It'll come off. Go ahead and just rip it off. It'll rip off. You don't have to worry. I'll do that in a heartbeat. But I can sit up there and now I can have to curl it as well too. And I've got my other leaf down here as well. So we've got at least 3 of the panels. Let me bring this down here so you can see how it's going to go. I have to get my 4th panel done. Put that there. Okay, so what we have here is, we'll put this right here. So again, you just want to get it together and space it, right? And put this one right here. That will have to come inside. So you're going to have to stay inside your 8.5 by 11, or the 8.5 by 8.5, right? Because we'll either have a frame around it or not. I'm not sure. Depends on the frame you want. Okay, I'm putting this right here. And then this one here is going to line up at the bottom, right? This one's going to line up at the top. So I'm just going to line this up here. So what you'll end up wanting is you want to make sure, right? You want to make sure the top of these line up and that you line it up to the side here, right? So you got to make sure though that your flowers are all contained within your 8.5 by 8.5. And see here, I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to line it up, both bottom and top. So it looks like I can move this up just a little bit. And I can move this down just a little bit, right? So it's mainly just getting that gap there of what you want. And personally, if it was an exact space, then I would just mark the exact space. And you know what? You can use your thumb as the ruler and mark it on there. People used to do that for sewing. So take your skills you learn from other areas like sewing and incorporate them, right? That's what it is. It's gathering knowledge together of everything we do and using it. So there we go. We're just missing our 1 square right there. All right, so let's see how we look. Besides, we got to put this down here, right? So this is going to go inside just like that. Acting like it's not already down, but it is down already. And we're just going to do it like this here. And just my color scheme's just a little different, right? All right. So here's what I've got. I'm missing one that I messed up on. And here's the original, okay? So let's see if we can put them side by side for you to see them. All right. So that is casing, except I did make a few changes because I didn't have all the things they had. But not much, right? I was inspired by whoever did this. And I went around and did it. And we're going to put some, but the only difference is I'm going to put scriptures online because I want to put scriptures on here. So I hope you enjoyed this, right? I just have to get my other panel and finish this up. And I'll show you that. Since I messed up, I'll show you when I finish. I'll post it and I'll get my scriptures on here too. All right? So I hope you enjoyed that. It's that easy to do, right? And I've got the measurements there for you. So I'll put the measurements in there for you so that you can go in case if you want to as well too, right? It's all about creating, sharing, and giving. And sometimes it's just sharing an idea to either inspire you or go and case it and make it again yourself. So with that, I hope you enjoy this. And so we always enjoy the fact that you sit there and keep up with us here on Facebook and also on Instagram. We enjoy that. And we look forward to seeing you next week with Teach Me Nana. And we'll make another alternative, all right? Be blessed. Have an amazing weekend. I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.